first Blues TV episode of the new year, and since we last spoke, we've signed Joe Kava. Can you tell us how that came about?
Well, it came about in the end really quite quickly. But we've known about Joe really since the beginning of the season. He's in the army up at Bicester. He's in the same corps that Ady's in, so Ady knew that Joe was up there, and he also knows what Joe's capable of. And even before that, Andy Hicklin, who I'd hoped would come on board as one of the coaches, had also brought his name up in conversation. And then Ady finally got a hold of him and managed to chat to him for a period of time. And then I spoke to him over Christmas and New Year. He came down and watched the Hampshire under-20 game against our under-21s, and then obviously met some of the players up on the top pitch, and then trained the following week, and we signed him, in double quick time at the end of last week. So it's a great addition to the team, really. He's only played one game. It's been difficult for him to get everything right, but those that were here will see that he's a big bloke. He carries the ball well. He attracts a lot of defenders, and once our players get used to playing with him, I'm sure that we'll sort of reap that benefit from that style of play. But you can't get away from the fact that he also comes with a lot of experience, and hopefully over the next few weeks that will rub off on the rest of our younger players, and they'll start thinking more about their rugby, because he's there just help guiding them through, really.
Okay, so that's great news. So looking back to last Saturday then, we lost to Lydney. We did score 25 points, which was our highest points total, as was pointing out in the Weekly News. How do you think we played in that match?
Well, we played very well in the first half, apart from the first 2 minutes when we conceded a soft try. It's always a concern when you have a long layoff as to how people will, perform in that first game, and we really just were going through the motions in the first minute, almost letting them score so that we could try again. And then after that, we got into the game and we put them under pressure. We were sort of getting into the right parts of the field. Scored 2 good tries, and we're threatening to score others. Obviously, we got the penalties that we kicked, which clearly because we were in good positions, try scoring positions there. But then, something we've been guilty of throughout the season, just really going to sleep. Some people might see it as being tired and unfit, and there might be an element of that. I think when Will Clark kicked the penalties for us to go 18-12 up, I think a lot of them felt that was the end of the half, and clearly there was enough time for another 2 tries. Yeah, so we went in behind, and you felt as if that was exactly the same as we'd felt down at when we went to Lydney earlier on in the season. We'd performed pretty well, but we're going in behind. Ady gave them a really hard time at half time. I'm not sure how. I did jokingly say that we had mics in the changing room and that we went through the tannoy system. But you probably didn't even need the mics if you were close enough to hear it. A bit harsh, maybe. But it was disappointing that we just let ourselves down in that last 5 or 10 minutes. And then in the second half, we defended well. I think we defended better. With the tries that they got, they had to work for. They weren't soft tries. They weren't what we'd been doing in the first half. And I think one of Ady's points was that he felt that if he hadn't been so strong at half time, then perhaps we may have ended up conceded another 50, 60 points. And there was a little bit of a justification in what he said. And then, obviously, Fids managed to score 1. But it would have been nice to have got that 4th try. It would have been nice to have won. And it was a game we'd targeted as a possible win. And it just didn't happen on the day.
OK, so now we're starting to play sides that we've played before. How much can you read into our previous performance against those teams? Or is it more important how we performed in the last match?
Well, it's probably more important how we performed in the last match. I've looked at the video footage from when we played Richmond earlier on in the season, and the team that took the field that day is not completely different, but there's probably only about 3 or 4 guys who are in the team this weekend who were in the squad when we played Richmond before. So it'd be difficult to take anything from that previous performance. Certainly, I feel we're playing better than we did when we played Richmond. But really, it'll be about what this current crop of players can achieve this coming Saturday. That taken away, Richmond are a pretty class act. They haven't lost since they beat us that day. They'd had 3 losses before, and then they haven't lost a game since. And they sort of got paid back on Taunton last weekend, who had beaten them at their place. And I still maintain that they're probably the best side we've played, despite the fact that Jersey put 100 points on us and Ealing have put 90 odd. And they were strong, they were purposeful, and they knew what they were doing. So it won't be an easy place to go. I think added to that, it's their 150th year, and it's their first game at home in their 150th year. So there'll probably be all sorts of things going on to try and whip everybody up. So it's going to be a tough old game, but we've got to come out with something, and we'll certainly go down with those intentions.
Okay, so who are we hoping to take down to Richmond in terms of squad?
Well, yeah, hopefully this will be the squad, although it's changing minute by minute with the other commitments. And then Martin, unfortunately, picked up an aggravation of his knee, so it's highly likely that he probably won't be available. And we were also waiting for a fitness test on Ben West. But I'm also very conscious of the fact that Ben is having a really good season. But we do need to manage him properly. The Colts, who are a key part of this whole chain, are still in the National Colts Cup. And it's important that they field their strongest and best side whenever possible. And obviously Ben fits into that group. So although it's not this weekend, I need to make sure that Ben is fit to play with that. And so he obviously can go and play with his mates and have some good time there. So the squad will probably be the likes of Tom Fiddler, Ali Widdop, Luke Sawyer, Andy Cannock, Greg Price. We're waiting to see whether Matt Boll can get back from Exeter. Matt came off the bench last weekend, got yellow carded straight away, so obviously we're keen to give him a bit more game time. Ollie Spanswick, who's been doing really well and played for the Colts on Sunday, and I went to watch that, and he had an outstanding game. So clearly, despite the knocks he gets at senior level, he's actually paying dividends when he goes and plays in that environment. Paul Archer, and then Joe Kava, who should have played for the Army yesterday, but that got cancelled, so he'll be fresh. Andy Gale and Will Clark at halfbacks. Johan, Steve Datchler, possibly Dan Thorne in the centre now, with Dave Ferguson and Oscar at fullback, and then Tom Sanders. Nathan Thomas is now fully recovered and has no long-lasting problems with his neck, so that's good news. Jamie Monger, Joe Grant, Tim Parker, Tom Back. So I've reeled off more than 20 there, but that's just to make sure we've got all the bases covered, really.
Okay, great. Thanks very much.